At the Galactic Union's headquarters, a thick silence fills the room as high-ranking officials gather around a large circular table. One of the senior politicians, a stern-faced figure with sharp eyes, clears his throat, addressing the assembly with a cold detachment. "The Gormiths," he begins, "are an uncontainable threat. We've seen what they're capable of: massive, terrifying, impossible to control. Their eradication is not just necessary, it's vital for the safety of the galaxy." Another politician, tapping a pen on the table, echoes the sentiment. "We cannot afford to risk the lives of any more citizens. Their strength alone makes them a liability. It's better to act now before they become an unstoppable force." The decision to abandon the Gormiths to their fate is unanimous. No one questions it. They are monsters in the eyes of the Union, and monsters have no place among civilized species. The meeting concludes with a single, cold declaration: the extermination must proceed. A series of broadcasts follow, spreading across the galaxy like wildfire. Anchors report the successful containment of the Gormiths, each story filled with fear-mongering language. Footage of their enormous, hulking forms is shown in clips that emphasize their destructive power. Entire colonies are seen retreating in terror as Gormiths slumber through cities, towering over buildings and crushing anything in their path. The narrative is clear: these creatures are too dangerous to be allowed to exist. Whispers begin circulating. "They're monsters," people say. "Nothing good can come from letting them live." Public sentiment shifts almost instantly, accepting the Galactic Union's portrayal of the Gormiths. They are hunted down, planet by planet, system by system, until only a few remain. Those that do manage to escape are forced onto a barren, forgotten world, a desolate wasteland where no life can flourish. The Union ensures that no species dares interfere with this final step of their eradication. On the fringes of space, aboard a human exploration ship, a crew picks up an anomaly, a faint, irregular signal. It's weak but persistent, enough to catch the attention of the ship's communications officer. She furrows her brow and runs it through several filters, but the result is always the same. The signal's origin matches that of the abandoned planet where the last Gormiths were reportedly left to die. Intrigued, the ship's captain orders a deeper investigation. They sift through the Union's official records, cross-referencing the data with private logs and old reports. What they find doesn't quite add up. Accounts of the Gormiths vary too much. Some records describe them as mindless destroyers, others as a noble species capable of advanced communication. The crew discusses their findings, curiosity getting the better of them. "This doesn't feel right," the captain muses. "If they're really as dangerous as the Union claims, why leave them to rot on some forgotten planet? Why not finish the job?" His second-in-command agrees. "There's more to this story. We've always had a knack for seeing things the Union doesn't want us to see." The captain makes the decision. "We're going to investigate. It's risky, and we'll be breaking a no-contact order, but something about this feels wrong." The team springs into action, knowing full well the consequences if the Union finds out. They prep their ship for a covert mission. Silence is key. No one outside their crew can know what they're about to do. They've operated in the gray areas of galactic law before, but this feels different. This isn't just a violation of protocol, it's a direct challenge to the Union's authority. As they finalize their preparations, the weight of what lies ahead sinks in. They're not just risking their careers, they could be risking their lives for the sake of a species the entire galaxy has already written off. But there's no turning back now. They're driven by something deeper than duty. This isn't just about uncovering the truth, it's about standing up against injustice, about defying the narrative that fear has woven into the fabric of galactic society. The human cruise ship descends through the atmosphere of the abandoned planet, its stealth systems activated. As they break through the thick clouds, the planet's surface comes into view, an endless expanse of barren land, strewn with crumbling remnants of structures that hint at a once thriving civilization. The air is dense, the sky a dull gray, casting a shadow over everything below. Every sensor reading tells the humans the same thing: nothing here should be alive. The crew is silent as they prepare to land. The weight of the mission is pressing down on them, each one feeling the unease that comes with stepping onto a world left to die. This is no ordinary planet. Somewhere out there, the Gormiths, the creatures everyone else had deemed monsters, are waiting. They land in a clearing, the ship's hatch hissing open to reveal the cold, lifeless landscape. With weapons ready, they step into the unknown, their breathing shallow in the thin atmosphere. Gravity is heavier here, making every step feel like a struggle. Their senses are on high alert, knowing full well that they might be walking into the territory of something far beyond their comprehension. Time passes slowly. The ruins loom around them like forgotten ghosts, their shapes barely distinguishable from the rocky terrain. The team's pace slows as the tension grows. The air is thick with anticipation. They scan the horizon, weapons poised, every sound causing their hearts to race. And then movement. In the distance, something massive stirs in the shadows. The team freezes. Eyes widen as they see a hulking figure, larger than anything they've encountered before. It shifts slightly, its form still obscured by the half-light of the dying sun. Instinctively, they grip their weapons tighter, the fear of the unknown creeping into their minds. They've seen images of Gormiths, but seeing one in person is entirely different. The creature is too large, too powerful looking. They're not sure if they're ready for this. Their captain whispers a command. No one fires. The mission wasn't to kill, but to make contact. Even so, the tension doesn't ease. The team takes cover, positioning themselves strategically in case the creature charges. But it doesn't. It stays where it is, watching them just as intently. For a moment, no one moves, a silent standoff between the humans and the creature they'd been taught to fear. Then, slowly, the Gormith steps forward, out of the shadows and into the dim light. Its size is overwhelming, its form towering over the ruins. Yet, what draws their attention isn't its bulk, but the rhythmic glow emanating from patches on its body. Bioluminescent patterns flicker across its skin, pulsing in waves that seem almost deliberate. The humans brace for an attack, but the Gormith makes no aggressive move. It stands still, its glowing patterns shifting, almost as if it's communicating. The humans lower their weapons slightly, exchanging uncertain glances. This wasn't what they expected. The captain, sensing an opportunity, speaks into the calm. Hold your fire. Let's see what it does. The Gormith's bioluminescence shifts again, the glow now changing to softer hues. The patterns move in a way that seems almost familiar, like a heartbeat, or a slow, steady breath. And then, through the shifting lights, the humans recognize something: fear. Confusion. It's not attacking them because it's scared. They're not looking at a monster. They're looking at a creature that's lost, alone, and desperate for help. The crew hesitates, their earlier fear giving way to curiosity. One of the team members, an expert in xenobiology, steps forward, cautiously lowering her weapon. She speaks softly. It's trying to tell us something. The others don't move, still unsure, but no one stops her as she approaches the Gormith. She takes out a small device from her pack, a translator designed for nonverbal communication. Activating it, she steps closer, close enough to see the full detail of the bioluminescent patterns flickering across the creature's skin. The device hums to life, analyzing the complex light patterns. Slowly, a translation begins to form, piecing together the emotions the Gormith is projecting. Fear. Pain. A deep sense of abandonment. The human's heart sinks as she understands. This is the last of its kind, left behind by the Galactic Union to die. She looks back at the rest of the crew, her voice soft. It's alone. The others didn't make it. The captain's face hardens. The truth is sinking in. This wasn't just a rescue mission. This was the discovery of a creature that had been betrayed by the galaxy. And now, the responsibility of what happens next rests on their shoulders. The Gormith, sensing their understanding, lowers its massive head, its lights dimming slightly. It no longer sees the humans as a threat, and in turn, the humans no longer see a monster. They see a victim. And in that moment, everything changes. As the creature begins to recover, the humans start noticing patterns in its behavior that challenge their initial perceptions. Despite its towering size and fearsome appearance, the Gormith shows a level of intelligence that surprises them. It doesn't act with the mindless aggression they had been warned about. Instead, it starts to mimic certain human actions. When one of the humans gestures to the rest of the team, the Gormith seems to copy the movement, albeit in a crude, clumsy way. At first, the humans chalk it up to coincidence, but the pattern repeats. The team's biologist, fascinated, watches these interactions closely. She begins documenting every small gesture, every flicker of the Gormith's bioluminescence. "I think it's trying to communicate," she says, her voice tinged with awe. "It's not just reacting to us, it's studying us, learning from us." The others, still wary of the creature's immense size, keep their distance, but they too begin to notice the subtleties in its movements. There's intelligence in its eyes, something far more complex than the mind of a simple predator. Determined to understand, the humans take a bold step. They begin experimenting with simple, nonverbal gestures, raising a hand, pointing, or nodding. At first, the Gormith watches them cautiously, its glowing patterns shifting as it observes. Then, slowly, it starts to respond. When a crew member points to a nearby rock, the Gormith follows the gesture, its head turning in the same direction. When another crew member raises a hand in a friendly greeting, the Gormith mimics the movement with a slower, larger version of the gesture. The interactions are tentative at first, but gradually, a basic form of communication begins to take shape. It's nothing like speaking or writing, but the humans start to grasp the bioluminescent language the Gormith uses to express emotions and ideas. The pulsing lights on its skin shift in response to certain gestures, conveying different feelings: caution, curiosity, even gratitude. The humans, in turn, adjust their approach, using what they've learned to communicate more effectively with the creature. What once was a creature they feared now seems almost relatable. The Gormith no longer stands with the same tense posture, its bioluminescence softening into calming patterns whenever the humans approach. It watches them with a keen, observant eye, and the humans feel the shift in the dynamic. The tension fades, replaced by a quiet sense of mutual understanding. One night, as the crew gathers around their camp, the captain reflects aloud. "This isn't a monster. It's something far more than we ever imagined." The rest of the team agrees, nodding as they realize just how much their initial fear had clouded their perception. The Gormith, though alien in every sense, has shown itself to be capable of thought, of feeling, of communication. The bond between them strengthens with each passing day, the creature growing more trusting of its human companions, and the humans more protective of it. Through their interactions, the humans begin to unravel more about the Gormith's past. With each gesture and pulse of light, the creature shares fragments of its history. The humans piece together a story that shocks them to their core. The Gormiths weren't just brutes, roaming the galaxy in search of destruction. They were a complex society, with a rich culture and intricate social structures. They communicated not only through bioluminescent signals but through shared emotional experiences, relying on their unique ability to project and understand feelings in ways no other species could. The more they learn, the more the humans realize that the Gormiths had been misunderstood from the beginning. Yes, they were physically powerful, and yes, their size made them intimidating, but they were far from the mindless creatures the Galactic Union had portrayed. Their extinction wasn't the result of their own savagery. It was driven by fear, prejudice, and the unwillingness of other species to understand them. They had been hunted not because they were dangerous, but because they were different. This revelation stirs something deep within the human crew. They've spent their lives exploring the farthest reaches of space, encountering species after species, but never have they felt the injustice of prejudice as strongly as they do now. The Gormiths had been victims of a galactic narrative designed to eradicate them. And now, this creature, the last of its kind, was all that remained of a once great species. The captain, looking at the Gormith's glowing form as it rests peacefully near the camp, clenches his fist. "We can't let this stand," he mutters, his voice filled with resolve. The rest of the crew nods in agreement. They've made their decision. The Gormith isn't a monster, it's a living testament to the failures of the galaxy's political systems, and they won't let it die here, abandoned and forgotten. The humans know they have a long fight ahead of them. But for now, they've found common ground with the creature they were once told to fear. And that, they realize, is the first step towards something greater. The humans work swiftly, operating under the cover of darkness. The ship is quiet, its engines humming as they load the last surviving Gormith into the cargo hold. It's a delicate process, considering the creature's immense size, but the humans work with a coordinated precision, their movements quick and efficient. They know they don't have much time. The Galactic Union may have abandoned the Gormiths, but they still maintain a presence on the planet to ensure no one interferes. As the humans make their final preparations, alarms suddenly blare. A swarm of Union drones, sleek and silent, sweeps across the barren landscape toward the ship. The humans scramble into action, manning defense systems and readying for a fight. The Gormith, sensing the urgency, reacts in kind. Its bioluminescence flares brightly, its patterns pulsing in rapid sequences, as if it understands the gravity of the situation. Instead of attacking head-on, the humans devise a plan. They take advantage of the planet's rugged terrain, using the ruins and natural formations to hide from the drone's scanners. The Gormith, far more agile than its size suggests, helps to draw the drones into a trap. Working in tandem, the humans and the Gormith manage to outsmart the Union's patrols. The ship lifts off into the atmosphere, the drones left behind, their signals fading as the humans and their unlikely ally escape the planet's orbit. Once safely aboard, the humans make contact with members of the Galactic Council who they believe can be trusted. They transmit the data they've gathered, the false reports, the altered records, the truth that the Union had worked so hard to bury. But it's not just cold, hard data that they send. They let the Gormith tell its story. Using its bioluminescent abilities, the Gormith projects a powerful display of emotions, a visual narrative that transcends language. The crew watches in awe as the patterns shift and swirl, painting a picture of a peaceful species torn apart by fear and prejudice. The Gormith conveys the pain of its people, the fear of being hunted, and the sadness of seeing its world fall apart. There's no mistaking the sorrow and the depth of loss in the creature's glowing patterns. It's a story no words could adequately capture. The humans add their voices to the transmission, explaining the truth behind the Galactic Union's actions. They expose the conspiracy for what it is, a calculated effort to eliminate the Gormiths, not because they were dangerous, but because they posed a political threat. The humans urge the Council to act, to take a stand against the injustice that has been perpetuated for too long. The Galactic Council is stunned. The transmission spreads across the galaxy, and soon, public outrage follows. Civilizations that had once been united in their fear of the Gormiths now demand answers. Protests erupt on numerous planets as people demand justice for the Gormiths and accountability from the Galactic Union. The media, which once painted the Gormiths as monsters, now airs images of the creature's bioluminescent storytelling, showing the galaxy the truth that had been hidden for so long. A movement begins, one that spans across star systems. Calls for reform echo through the halls of power, as the galaxy's citizens rally for the Gormith survival and for the Galactic Union to be held responsible for their lies. There is a palpable shift in the collective mindset of the galaxy. What was once seen as monstrous is now understood as tragic. The fear that had driven so many to blindly accept the Union's narrative is replaced with a new sense of empathy. The humans return to their homeworld, not as warriors, but as heroes in a different sense. They're celebrated for their courage, not in battle, but in their willingness to stand up for what was right. The story of their mission spreads, and it's not the tale of defeating an enemy, but of seeing the truth in the face of overwhelming deception. Their empathy, their belief that there was more to the Gormiths than what they had been told, becomes the real victory. As for the last Gormith, it's offered sanctuary on a human colony, a place where it can live in peace, free from the fear of persecution. The humans promise to protect it, to ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. In time, it begins to thrive, its bioluminescence lighting up the night skies of the colony, a symbol of hope and resilience. The galaxy, too, begins to heal. The Galactic Union faces a reckoning, its power diminished in the wake of the scandal. More importantly, the galaxy begins to question its definitions of what it means to be monstrous. Humanity, once again, proves that sometimes it takes a fresh perspective to see the truth. Where others saw a beast, the humans saw a victim. Where others saw a threat, they saw a chance for understanding. And in the end, that understanding changes the galaxy for the better.